Hello there. Mhm. Let's see. Hey, hey, welcome. Be sure to hit the like button as you come in. Welcome. We're going to share this on Instagram real quick. Hit the like button for me as you come in. Show some support. I appreciate it. Okay. Uh, mhm, mhm. All right. So, welcome. Let me know if this is your first time catching me live, just so I can give you a shout out. I appreciate you guys for being here, for joining. If this is your first time, again, drop it in the comment section so I can give you a shout out. All right. We are going to have a Q&A today, which simply means I'm going to answer whatever questions you have or you might have about your situation. I'll let you know what I think. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. So, typically, I'm going to answer the super chat questions first, just because, one, if you're trying to come in and out, and let's say you don't have the whole hour, hour and a half to be here, you can just hop in, drop a super chat. So I'll answer your questions first, like you'll be a priority. Also, if you want to support the channel, if you've been watching for some time and you have gotten value from the videos, it's an easy way to support. So I appreciate it. Okay. Otherwise, just drop your questions. I'll answer the questions in the order that they come in, and so that's how it's gonna go. Okay. And I answer the questions as they come in, but I will prioritize super chat questions first because I appreciate it. Also, another way to support, okay, is you come in, hit the like button. All right. It really does mean a lot. Does help the channel, and it gets this out to more people. All right. So I appreciate it. All right, let's see. We got DJ Trickstar. What's up? Says, hey, coach. I've seen you a couple of times, definitely in the comment section. So shout out to you, DJ Trickstar. Blessing says, hey, coach, how are you? Let's see. Monique says, OMG, finally caught you live. Welcome. Glad you could be here today. If you have any questions, make sure you drop it in the comment section now. All right. I'm skipping the questions right now because I want to do all the shout outs real quick. And then I'll go back to the questions. All right. Angie says, good evening from Toronto. NW says, hey, coach. Hey. Facts over feelings says, Coach Black, aka the truth. Appreciate it, man. Let's see. Dexter Price. Should I pay her back even though she's mean to me? Well, let's see here. Let me keep doing the shout outs, but I'll come back to that. Georgia says, hello from Berlin. Shout out to you. Um, APS is hi from Germany. Let's see. Rick, first time live. M and J, first time live. Patrick, first time live. Shout out to you guys. Uh, let's see. Who else we got? Meta. Wanda, Meta, Raya, uh, Nathaniel, all of you. Thanks for being here. All right. Cool. Let's see. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. All right, and we'll just jump into it. Let's see. JJ, how do you do no contact when you are married and you have kids? I get this question a lot, and I'm gonna answer it. But let me say this, okay? Be sure to spend the time, because if you're just learning this stuff, if this is your first time going through a breakup, okay, you got to invest the time to actually learn. All right, do some research. So currently, I already have a video about this subject on my channel. Now it's one of the first videos that I recorded, so the quality I think wasn't the best, and I was just getting the hang of it. So I'll answer it again, but I have to say you got to be willing to put in the effort to actually watch the videos if you're looking for answers. But here's the deal. If you're still married, at the end of the day, you know, if you haven't filed for divorce, your wife hasn't filed for divorce, and you're still together, but she's saying that she doesn't want to be in a relationship with you and she's going to file for divorce. The question is, what is the living arrangements? You guys still live in the same house? Okay. Do you still live in the same house? Is there a separation? There's a lot of legal things that have to happen before a divorce is like executed. So there's still a long process. All you can do right now is still show your intention to want to work on the marriage. If at this point they're like, I'm done, I'm filing, they're separated, they've moved out the house and all and things like that, then you have to allow them the space to do that. That's the only ground where you implement any kind of no contact situation. However, you still have to be um mature. Like, some people think like you can just, oh, I'm in no contact, so I'm gonna ignore my ex. Anything that you're doing trying to be petty, at the end of the day, it just makes you look bad. Okay, you want to behave mature, and you cannot force them to be with you. If you're still married, I'm not saying that you shouldn't make an effort. You try. You mentioned going to therapy, you mentioned going to counseling, you mentioned working on the relationship. If they are determined and they're like, no, I am going to do this, okay, then you have to allow them do this. Now, like I said, there's still different situations. Maybe you live together, maybe you're separated. So there's still a long timeline before you unwind the marriage. But the bottom line is you have to allow them the freedom to do that if that's what they want to do. Love is freedom at the end of the day. Okay. So you go into no contact, meaning you're not trying to force them to stay with you after you've made the offer to try to work on it. If they're saying no, you allow them the freedom to walk away. um you still communicate when necessary about the kids, about the schedule, about whatever legal things need to be unwinded. Okay, it's the energy that is different, trust me. You don't understand it, but I'm telling you, if you've been on the other side of it, when someone's pursuing you when you're not interested, you can feel the difference in the vibe and the energy. So all you're trying to communicate, all you're trying to do is to stop begging. Stop trying to force. Stop being needy. Stop trying to twist their arm and trying to control what they do. And they can feel the difference. So while you can communicate about things that are necessary, you stop fighting for the relationship and you allow them to be free. Okay. A lot of times you will see them start to backpedal. I'm telling you because I've seen this in several situations with other people that are married. But again, it really depends on where specifically you are. Okay. Have you separated? That's a big part. Or do you still live in the same household? If you still live together, you have to talk to them when necessary. So it's tricky, but it's still doable. If you want to talk about it, here, let me do this. I'm going to put a link. If you want to go into detail, because I don't have much detail, but it's definitely your vibe. Okay. Do not, so many people try to Use no contact to punish your ex. A lot of times when you do that, especially when they currently don't care, you just make yourself look bad. You make yourself look petty. You make yourself look immature, and it's not going to work. Your ex has to see that you're handling this in a mature way. They need to see some growth. They need to see that, okay, this person has changed and that they're respecting my boundaries, they're respecting my decision, but they're not desperate. Very important. So your vibe matters a lot. Okay. Thanks for your question. If you want to go into specifics, okay, about your case, I did put a link in there. If you want to talk about it, we will. But in the meantime, make sure you drop your questions below. I will get to them as soon as I can. I'm answering the questions in order. Also, if you want to skip the line, you want me to answer your question first, send a super chat donation. I answer all super chats as they come in. I believe there is a threshold. Okay, what happens on my side, just so you know, when you send a super chat, it pops up on my screen. But I believe if it's under $5, it's not going to pop up. Just a heads up. So again, if you're doing under five, that's fine, but know that that's more just to support. It's not going to pop on my screen, and I'm still going to answer it in the order it comes in. But over five, it's going to go to the top. Okay. All right. So Monique sent the super chat, but I can't see your question. So maybe your question is somewhere. Let's see if you had a question. Da, 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 Okay, Monique. Don't see, I don't see a question, Monique. So I'm gonna assume that that was just a donation. So thank you. But if not, all right, if you had a question with that, next time pair it with the super chat, but drop your question again in case you did have a question. But thank you for the super chat. All right. Let's see. Ike or Ike, the $10 super chat. Okay. If these are for questions, make sure you pair the super chat with your questions. Because so far I don't see any questions, which is fine. I know some people just want to support. So cool. Let's see. I can't see. Da, 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 da. Hmm. And the same for this next person, which is Rick. So if you guys are asking questions, just a heads up. Just, I know you guys love me so much, but just a joke. But my point is, a lot of times when people are sending super chats, you have a question. So make sure you join the two together. Because if you just send a super chat, I see the super chat, but there's no question. And then now I have to look through the comments, and there's a lot of comments, and I have to try to find your question. It makes it so much harder. So I appreciate the donation, I really do. But just so you know, if you have a question, make sure you join it to your super chat so I don't have a hard time finding it. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Next question is from da, da, da. The gamer bot says she got into a rebound 2 weeks into the breakup, started no contact a month later. She says she got cheated on, told her if she wants to talk about it. She said no. What do I do from here? She's still mad. That's a great question. And if anyone is dealing with this situation, I want you to pay attention. This is so important. Okay. The gamer bots, that is such a great question. And here's what I want you to know. Okay. One, if she got into a rebound 2 weeks into the breakup, it's very likely she was already fairly emotionally detached from you, and she may have already started fostering this relationship before she left you. Very possible. Okay. But let's assume that she didn't. What you have to understand, okay, about a breakup is that you have to be on an equal playing field with your ex. They are no better than you. And yes, you want them back. And I'm going to tell you the types of things to say and do that will increase your chances, but you have to stop viewing them as better than you. So, for example, in your situation, once the breakup happens, you understand that she owes you nothing. She doesn't owe you intimacy. She doesn't owe you conversations. As a matter of fact, she doesn't owe you loyalty. She literally went and started dating someone else. But what happens on the flip side is that because we are equals, Okay. She's no better than you. She's not on a pedestal. You also don't owe her anything. You don't owe her loyalty. You don't owe her love. You don't owe her affection. So now listen to your question again from that context. She dumped you and she went into a rebound. Okay. I want you to pay attention here. You do not owe her to be her emotional baggage and emotional support, for her to come confide in you about another guy. That is not your role. And if you keep doing things like this, I promise you, you will never get her back. And this is not, I want you to hear me clearly. This is not to put you down. I want you to attract her back if that's what you want. I want the best for you, but I'm telling you, if you think that by being her support system, being there for her, talking to her after she's dumped you, remember, you're not the one that left. You're not acting like someone of high value. She will never come back because you want her to. And that's what happens. So when you say, oh, um, I told her if she wants to talk about it, she says no. She's like, she's just dumping her emotions on you. And the moment you say, hey, let's talk, she says no because she's like, I don't owe you a conversation. I'll just use you for emotional support when I need it. And then I'm going to be gone. So that was a mistake. You should be in no contact. It doesn't matter what she's saying she's mad at you for. You don't owe her anything. So you shouldn't be communicating with her. If she texts you about another guy, you say, hey, um, whatever you do when we're not together, it's none of my business. But if you want to hang out, if you want to come over and cook dinner with me, I'm down to do that. And she says, no, I don't think it's a good idea. I say, all right, well, hey, hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you later. All right, get off the phone. I'm not saying you should be mean to her, but essentially you're trying to move things into hanging out together, spending time together. You don't have to bring up the relationship, but you're not her emotional support system. Period. So if she starts talking about her breakup, be like, hey, like, whatever you do, whoever you date, that's none of my business. But what are you doing this weekend? Why don't we get together? She says no. All right. Well, hey, it's good hearing from you. You take care. You get off the phone. All right. Super chat question from David Wells. David says, hey coach, thank you for all you do. Look forward to our meeting later this week. Yeah. Everyone, keep your chin up and remember it's a process. Awesome, man. I look forward to talking to you, bro. I think our call is on Friday. Yeah. I will talk to you then, my friend. Uh Marshall says, Coach, question, does no contact mean you shouldn't pursue other women if I want her back? What if they find out I am pursuing other women? Like seeing who I follow online, does that hurt my chances? Honestly, you know, first things first, you have to look at this holistically, all right? Are you emotionally ready to date? All right. And all the things that come with that. How long ago did the breakup happen? Was it a week ago or was it 6 months ago? So there's a lot of things that you should first figure out within yourself. And don't use her or getting her back as a criteria to decide when you're ready to start engaging. Okay. This is first about you. Are you emotionally ready? The second thing is, you know, if you are, then fine. If you're not, you have to make sure that you're communicating with the people that you meet where you're at emotionally. You don't want to be breaking hearts out there. You don't want to, give people a false impression and you say, oh, I'm still not over my ex. And it sounds like you're not yet. So this is just the very first thing you should be thinking about before you really put yourself out there. Okay. Now, from a breakup perspective, in my experience, okay, you shouldn't be trying to make your ex jealous. Okay, you shouldn't be doing that. You should only do things if it aligns with what you want for yourself and you're not worried about any blowback. Generally, actually, is your ex being worried about you dating someone else is actually a good thing. Now, as long as you're not putting stuff in their face, you're not going out of your way to say, oh, look, I went on a date. It's actually a good thing because you're communicating abundance. You're not waiting, you're not desperate, all right, and you're open to options and opportunity. So what you'll find actually is you following other women at some point, probably won't hurt your chances. It may actually trigger her to reach out. Now, don't do these things because I'm serious. And don't do it because you're trying to get her attention. Because the bottom line is, if you're not congruent, if you do things just to make her jealous and she reacts, sometimes a negative reaction is just a test. She wants to see, what you do. And then you back down or you start chasing her. It was all a waste of time. Or you do it, you follow girls, and then she blocks you, and then you freak out. So if all your actions are motivated by her and you're afraid of losing her, you'll end up back in the same place. So the best thing for you to do is to do nothing on social media, or very minimal. Okay. Don't post so frequently if you can help it. Um, don't follow multiple new people if you can help it. Just focus on yourself. And when you're ready to date, make that from a personal choice, right? It's your decision. Has nothing to do with her. And ultimately, being abundant and having options will not hurt you with getting your ex back. I promise you that, from what I've seen. Let's see here. Super chat from Ike. My girl and I started dating 6 months ago after being friends for 7 years. Okay, that's interesting. She dipped to Vegas in the middle of the night 3 nights ago. No serious argument, no contact or give up. Well, there's a lot of questions I have here. All right. So first, you were friends for 7 years. What was the reason for that? Was it because she didn't want to be with you? Were you guys in relationships? What's the reason for that? And then you start dating 6 months ago. Just so I'm clear, are you in a relationship, or you just this is when things turn from friendship to romantic? Because all these things matter, because you said she dipped to Vegas in the middle of the night. Like, there was no breakup conversation. You just woke up one day and she was gone. Is that all right? And these are just the questions that are coming in my mind. Ultimately, it takes two to be in a relationship, right? And so, if you're in a relationship, let's make some assumptions. She was actually your girlfriend, and she didn't communicate. You just found out she went to Vegas. I would try to reach out to get clarity, because at this point, this is still your girlfriend, supposedly. So I would try to reach out to get clarity. Hey, what's going on? Whatever. But if there's like a week of zero communication, you need to assume that the relationship is over. Unless you hear like she got, you know, bad things happened to her. Unless it's something like that you were unaware of, that's a different situation. But if sounds like she just voluntarily walked away, and you've tried to reach out multiple times and she's not answering, I would assume the relationship is over and go into no contact after that. Okay. John Paul with Super Chat says, once limerence wore off, he said he lost attraction and wants to be friends. I said no, broke up after 10 months. I was needy, I admit, was in love. Will working on myself bring back attraction? Yeah. If you stop reaching out to him and you actually give them space and allow them to miss you, and then you focus on yourself, for sure, that's a necessary component. I said this in the video I put out today. Relationships are an exchange in value. Your ex will never come back just because you want them to come. Because in their mind, it's like, of course you want me back. I left you. In their mind, they're like, I'm awesome. I'm great. Of course you want me back. But they will come back when they see you as someone worthy of being with, right? And not that you aren't already, but at least in their mind, they have to feel like, oh my God, I'm getting the most amazing, awesome person. And so working on yourself can never hurt. So when people say work on yourself, it gets really confusing, but it's really important. Okay, because you're negotiating, right? Remember, this is an exchange of value, and who you are as a person, that's your value, your personality, your career successes, right? What's your drive? What's your ambition? All these things are part and parcel of your value. And so you want to come to the table with something. Okay. Even though you're already worth everything, I want you to know that's how you were created. I didn't create you that way. The Most High did. So you already have an immense value already internally, but working on yourself, working on your external conditions cannot hurt at all. Okay, another super chat. Hey, coach, thanks for amazing coaching call last Tuesday. Any additional tips, Michael? I'm still struggling. She still has not reached out. It's been a month. Sheesh. Michael. Okay, so here's the thing, Michael. Let's see here if I can see it. Bottom line, all right, if you're in no contact and you haven't heard from her and you're still 1 month in, you need to just continue what you're doing. As hurtful as that might be. Okay. I don't remember all the details and what transpired before and how much begging and chasing you did. But the bottom line is 1 month is still way too early to be worried and freaking out. I promise you. I've seen people get their ex back after 2 months, after 3 months. I was talking to a client a couple weeks ago. They were meeting up after a year and a half. Now, I would never tell you to wait for a year and a half, but I'm just saying 1 month is still early. Okay. Um, Make sure that you're doing the other things that we talk about. All right. Make sure you're working on your confidence. Make sure you're in the gym. Make sure you're practicing. All right. So that when you do get the opportunity, when you get that call or you get that text, you know how to respond. And always remember, I say this, you have one goal. When you get that reach out from your ex, your goal is to escalate, all right, to a more intimate kind of communication. So text messages are very, bottom level, and then phone call is the level above that, and then in person. And so if it's a long distance, yeah, you might have to settle for a phone call, that first conversation, or a FaceTime. But if you live in the same city, your goal is, can we organize a date? That's it. Don't sit on the phone texting back and forth with your ex. It never works. If you're just joining, be sure to hit the like button for me. Hit the like button to show some support. I appreciate it. Okay. Thank you. Uh let's see. I think I missed a super chat here. So let's make sure. Huh. Let's do this. All right. Make sure. Okay, Oscar. That was the one. Oscar says X is acting weird. 1 month no contact for a second time. She's vented on social media about the issues we had and blocking and unblocking me. No response since. Well, what have you done in response to what she's doing? Because if she's not reaching out to you directly, do not fall for the little breadcrumbs. All right. This is all a test. A lot of times, and I'm still going to make a video about this. A lot of times, before your ex comes back, what tends to happen first is a lot of testing. There's going to be a lot of testing because they're noticing that you're acting differently. They're noticing that, okay, I can't control him anymore. I can't control her anymore. Let me try to manipulate. Let me see if I do these little things, if I block them, are they going to react? If I send an angry text message, are they going to react? Okay. A lot of times it's you passing their test by being indifferent, being a challenge when necessary, maintaining your boundaries. That's what actually pushes them over the edge where they get more fearful and they're like, okay, this is different. They're serious. I have to do something to fix this. So you have to pass those tests. The issues I see a lot of times, people fail all the tests that their ex gives them because they get worried. Okay. All right. What in the world? Hmm. Okay. Um. Hmm. Okay. Jamie. So I don't know. I'm reorganizing the questions, but anyway, let's just see. Jamie says, I'm late to the live, but you're awesome. 2 months post breakup. And he texted me today asking how I'm feeling about us. I begged the whole first month until I found your videos. This helped me a lot. Awesome. You should never be begging. All right. Begging your ex, think about it. That's falling into the premise that they are above you. And it's subtle. A lot of people don't notice this. And all of this is happening on a subconscious level, not only to you, but to them. The mere fact that you're begging them, I'm serious, makes them feel like they can do better. Okay. I'm not saying don't take ownership for your mistakes because you should, but you shouldn't spend 6 months apologizing for mistakes that you made. And also, a lot of times, you really didn't make those mistakes. Like, what happens is that your ex breaks up with you and you start questioning them why, what happened, what can I do better? And so they feel like they have to give you answers. Their mind goes to work. Okay, why am I breaking up with them when the truth is they just lost feelings? So they'll tell you, well, remember 4 years ago when you said XYZ about my family? Remember how you hurt me, a year ago? And you're like, well, I thought we got over that. Because you're forcing them to answer a question that's more of an emotional decision than a logical decision. That's what happens most of the time. And so you should never be begging your ex. I'm telling you, I promise you, you should not be begging them. Okay, super chat from Ali says, ex said he doesn't want relationship, but asked for friends with benefits. I've been having fun with it, role playing, but the goal is to get back as a relationship. Any advice? I would say by far, okay, just from my experience coaching both men and women make this mistake the most. Okay, so I want you to pay attention and know that this is coming from a place of love. You should not be giving this guy access to you intimately, especially when you still have feelings for him, especially when you want to be in a relationship with him. A lot of times, what I find is, okay, and not to be a blanket statement, but from the women I've coached that have made this mistakes, a lot of time they feel that by having sex with their ex partner, the guy, that they're going to force some sort of intimacy. They're going to be able to win him back, and if they do all the things right, um, that they'll get their ex back. The mistake is that a lot of guys think differently. Okay, how do you go from being the president of the country, and now he's giving you the position of the garbage man? Right. What happens is you're actually lowering your value in his eyes. The problem is he's not going to tell you this. That's the thing with men. He will not tell you that actually you doing the very thing that seems to give you both pleasure makes it way more harder for you to get him back because now he sees you as someone that's easy. A guy, think about it, okay, for a very simple thing. All right, this is not just my perspective. If you go on the internet, you'll hear guys talk about, for example, all right, something like body count. And this is besides the point. Don't focus on the body count. But why do some guys, or why do a lot of guys say that it matters? It's because when a guy chooses you and says, okay, you're gonna be my girl, I love you, I want to be with you, in his mind, the reason he's choosing you is because you're better than the rest. In his mind, you're this delicate flower princess girl that he wants to give his all to. You're perfect. And this is why, again, the body count affects a guy's perception of you. Again, it's not important right now because, if you got into a relationship, he loved you, whatever. But the point is, I want you to take that same mindset and think about you giving him access to your body without him having to commit to you. It affects his perception of you. You're no longer that prize. You're no longer that queen, that princess that he was lucky to have. Now you're just a girl that accepts whatever he has to offer. And a lot of times that's minimal communication, no real quality time besides when he wants it. Okay, and no real investment. I'm telling you because not only am I a guy, I have guy friends, and I coach men and women, and I know how guys think. He will not tell you that you're hurting your chances. He's going to use you, and every time you bring up, "Hey, are you ready? Can we take this to the next level?" He's going to give you excuses. So as much as it hurts you, as much as you want to be close to him, as much as you want to be intimate, it will not bring him back. I promise you. He's just going to use you. So you need to cut it out. All right. And understand I'm saying it from a place of love. I wish you well. Okay. All right. Let's see. Next super chat is from Rick. All right. Rick says, all right, $10 donation earlier. X 3 years left September 2022. Broke her heart. Okay. Was down to go to relationship counseling, chased for a month, wet no contact, unblocked me in August. She got a boyfriend, watches my story. I don't. Okay, if she's got a boyfriend, you got to stop chasing her, dude. You shouldn't have been chasing her anyway. Okay, and the breakup happened uh, a year ago. So as much as it hurts, like you got to be more so focused on yourself. Again, I told you the stories. I've seen people come back from breakups years later, but a lot of those people, like you're not waiting. It's just you continue progressing in your life, and then the opportunity comes and you're a new person. You both grown, you're more confident, and you can treat her better. Okay. I don't know the details about your situation, what happened, what you did to hurt her. That's certainly a thing. But a lot of times, I'm telling you, most of you, especially the guys, it's more so emotionally, she fell out of love with you. Either you stopped taking the lead in the relationship, you put a lot of the responsibilities for making decisions on her, you stop courting her and dating her properly and making her know that she's loved and well taken care of, and she just loses feelings. A lot of times, it's not like you directly did something. Sometimes that's the case, but a lot of times it's not. And so she'll send you chasing after things that really don't matter, because you have to understand it's more about her emotions. It's more about how she feels about you. And if you can change those emotions, a lot of times you can get her back. But if she's in a relationship with a new guy, you got to stop. All forward movement, never call, text, anything. If she watches your stories, fine, but she can do more. Uh 6 weeks of a fantastic relationship. Okay. Dumped and found out she's avoidant. She's not sure, but she will contact. She said she's not sure, but she will contact. She said, Hmm. Just one text from me, no begging and no contact. 6 weeks since. Okay, I'm a little lost with your question, so I'm gonna make some assumptions. You were only in a relationship for 6 weeks, and then you broke up, and you've been in no contact for 6 weeks. That's kind of how I understand your question. Okay, so I want you to understand, all right? One, you say fantastic relationship for 6 weeks. Chances are you're projecting how you felt about her. Chances are, because 6 weeks is such a short time that if it was so fantastic, she wouldn't have left, probably. And also, it's not that no contact cannot work, but the whole basis why no contact is very effective is that it's based on the attachment that you had to each other. All right. So obviously, a lot of times, the longer the relationship, the more intertwined you guys were in each other's life, the more the hold you have on each other. And if you really pull back your energy, they can really feel your absence. But 6 weeks is so short a time that, again, while it's not possible, it's not impossible. It's less like the chances aren't as great as someone who was in a relationship for 3 months or 6 months or a year. Okay, but I would still need a little more information. Okay, but based on what you're telling me, your only option is to stay no contact. All right. Even if she's avoidant, you can't beg her back into the relationship. I promise you that. Discounted chick with the super chat says, X did the whole monkey branch in our relationship, so I believe the no contact will not work on him. But his new girlfriend is stalking my social media, but she has the guy. Why is she stalking me? Well, if she's looking at your page, she's looking at it for a reason. Believe that. She wouldn't be looking at it if it wasn't important. Okay. What I found by coaching a lot of men and women really need to feel safe and secure in a relationship. And so basically, if she's looking at your stories constantly, there's something that's going on in their relationship that doesn't make her feel safe. And she likely feels like you are a possible threat. I don't know what he's saying. I don't know what he's doing. But even though she has the guy, something's off for her that internally is triggering her safety need, right? To make her not feel like the relationship is 100% secure. So just still stay no contact though. And I tell people this, just because your ex rushes into the next relationship, it doesn't mean a lot of times that they are emotionally detached from you. You just feel that way because you want things to turn around like this. But sometimes it does take them going to go date someone else and figuring out, oh, geez, I had it great the whole time. But you shouldn't be waiting. If they're in a relationship, and be clear, you shouldn't be waiting for them. Okay, super chat from Sarah. I missed. Sarah says, short term, 10-week, no label, change expectations. Met guy, inseparable, intense, consistent compliments, maybe. But said he thought I would leave. Met sister, she liked me. Suddenly broke off saying no spark. Well, here's a big thing, okay? The things a lot of times that matter to you, like basically, you want to judge a guy, simply put, on his actions. If he didn't commit to you after 10 weeks, that was for a reason. Sometimes guys misrepresent, at times their desire to commit because they think or they know from experience that if I start talking to this lady and I tell her that, oh, I'm not interested in a relationship right now, most women walk away from that. And there's scientific studies to back this. You can look up the research. I think they had a very attractive guy approach 100 women and a very attractive woman approach 100 men and say, hey, let's go hook up. Out of the men, I think like 70 something percent said, sure, let's do it. Out of the women, zero. None agreed to, you know, a random short-term experience with a complete stranger. 0%. So a lot of times men feel like, okay, if I don't give her something emotionally, if I don't say XYZ and say I want to get married and all these things, she's going to just walk away. And so some guys are guilty of this. They'll tell you what you want to hear, but they'll just never commit. So you always want to judge based on his actions. It's good if he's, taking you on dates. And I know you're probably, well, he took me on dates. Well, I met his sister. That's all great. But he did not commit. That's the most important box you want to check. I talked to so many people and like, oh, he did this and he did that. And he would call me and he would text all the time. Okay, well, how long you got? Oh, we've been dating for 6 months. Okay, so when did he ask you to be his girlfriend? Oh, he never did. He said he needed more time. That's what you have to judge on, unfortunately. And I know all these things mean something. I'm not saying they mean nothing, but a lot of times you focus on these other things that he does as a placeholder for intimacy and growing the relationship. But I'm telling you, men understand what commitments and contracts mean. And if he's not signing that contract, if he's not saying we're together, it's for a reason. There's a very good chance he doesn't want to, regardless of the words coming out of his mouth. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay. But thanks for the super chat. Let me say this. If you're just joining, welcome. Be sure to hit the like button as you come in. I appreciate it. It really does help the channel, helps get more people in the chats. And also, what happens is, as I'm answering the questions from different people, maybe your question gets answered. So definitely do that. If you just joined and you want to skip the line, I'm answering the questions in order. Send a super chat and I will answer super chat questions first, and then I go to the other questions. Okay. Let's see. Did I miss any super chats? Jay. Yeah. Jay says, my ex broke up with me a month ago. I had begged. Recently, she texts me, congrats on my new job. We've texted a bit so far. Should I try to escalate? Yes, always. Because a lot of times, all she's texting you for is to waste your time, at least initially. All she's texting you for is to see, do I still have him? And when you sit there and text her back and forth and not go for what you want, she knows the only reason I can keep him in this conversation is because he still has feelings for me. Okay. So escalating, there's nothing to be fearful about. Just say, hey, um, why don't you come over? Let's cook dinner together. And what you'll figure out really quickly is she serious? Because a woman knows, all right, a woman who's been in a relationship with you, a woman who has any experience dating, which she does. If I'm going to this man's house, even though he's my ex, in the evening, this could escalate romantically. And if she's not interested in that, she will not be there. I promise you. She will not come. She will make excuses because she doesn't want to be in an uncomfortable position where you have the googly eyes and you want to kiss her or hold her and all these things, and she's having to reject you. So if she's not really interested and she's not ready, when you invite her over, she's gonna say no, or she's gonna give you an excuse. And that way you can save yourself some time, and save yourself some energy. All right. So stop texting back and forth, go straight to the point. And if she doesn't accept, leave the conversation. Michelle with the super chat says, 2.5 years together, engaged 1 year. I ended it, but regretted it. We tried, but he couldn't trust me after that. 1 month, no contact. He texts saying he loves me, but he can't trust me. Could he be trying to get me to chase? Well, now all that happens is that the roles have reversed, and now he has the power. Okay, but you need to stop and ask yourself, what were the reasons why I left him in the first place? Because sometimes, you genuinely broke up for a reason. So ask yourself, what was the reason why I wanted to leave? But all that's happened here is that the power dynamic has changed. He has the power and he's using that. So if you're going to be in no contact and he sends you things like that, you can't stay in a constant state of apologizing. Say, hey, I made a mistake by leaving. I love you, and I want to work on this. But if you cannot get over the past, if you cannot move forward with me and trust me, I understand, and I'm going to let you go. Put it in your own words, okay? But you can't let him continue, provided you've apologized and you've tried to make it right, okay? I'm not saying just say that on the first. You've apologized, you've tried to make it right, you begged, you've done all the things, and now he doesn't even give you a chance. He just comes back to say, "You did this." All right, and some exes do that. Right, they use that to guilt you and to maintain power and control over you, and you stay as their subordinate. You keep apologizing, you keep trying to prove yourself, but it never wins them over. So at some point, you do have to walk away and then see what he does. Huh. Let's see. Been with Lily, Little Lyle, I think. Says, been with my girls. Girls? My girl, maybe. Been with my girl for 10 years, married for six, 4 kids. She left me for another guy at work. She said she fell out of love with me. She came back and slept with me 4 to 5 times. Says I haven't changed and shown growth to try. Well, here's the thing. This is a tough one for you, right? Because you have 4 children together. So it's easy for some guy on the internet to say, "Ooh, forget her, move on." Okay, so I understand that. And that's not what I'm going to say, but I do want you to think about the fact that she cheated on you, because that's what happened. She cheated on you with someone at work, so she broke the trust. Okay, she broke the loyalty, and she chose another guy. And what you're doing a lot of times when she says you haven't changed, part of you not changing is you're still accepting poor treatment. Remember, bottom line, she still wants to be with a high value person. Okay, you need to be working on yourself, you need to be go all those things. But basically it shouldn't be so easy for her to move on with another guy, and she just comes in and just sleeps with you whenever she wants, without no boundaries, without no expectations, right? Without really expressing some doubt about her and about the relationship. You shouldn't just give your heart away so easily. You shouldn't give your body away so easy. I'm telling you, these things are subconscious, but a lot of times you telling your ex no in strategic ways makes them find you more attractive, because what you're saying is I don't need this. I know I could do better. But when you're so easy because of that fear, and I understand this, and like I said, I understand you have 4 children together. You want to save the relationship, but you can still have expectations. She shouldn't just be able to just come in and out whenever she wants, because she's gonna hold all the power. And when you with this last part, it says I haven't changed yet. Right, like I said, you're not being strong, you're not having boundaries. But the other part of it is that tells me you're still begging for the relationship, right? Because that statement is a response to what you're putting out there. So you're saying, can we try again? And she's like, no, you haven't changed. So you're still begging, you're still chasing, and that doesn't work. So there's still a lot of things you have to change as far as your approach when you're communicating with her. um my ex-boyfriend broke up with me after 4-year long relationship because my parents never approved of him because of a different race. I wanted to get married to him either way, but he didn't want to. Do you think he will come back? 2 months, no contact. Well, here's the thing. What's important a lot of times is really understanding why the breakup happened, because sometimes this is what's tricky. Sometimes your ex, like I said, they send you on these wild goose chases, meaning they give you problems that don't even need to be solved at times. And so sometimes he says, oh, well, it's because your parents didn't like my race, because you can't really change his race. You can't really change that. And so sometimes he actually doesn't want to be in a relationship because he's not happy or he's not emotionally attached to you. And you keep begging, you're like, oh, what can I do? And he gives you an unsolvable mission. He gives you something that you can't really, and you know, you get frustrated, you make all these promises. Okay, I'm gonna excommunicate my parents. We don't need them and all these things. But the truth is he just isn't feeling it at times. Now, there are values issues that happen during breakups sometimes. There's some times where a breakup happens because of difference in values, meaning, one person. All right. There's racial issues for some, there's religious issues for some. The thing is, a lot of times these negotiations happen before you get into a relationship. But in some cases, it happens during the relationship. Maybe someone changes their perspective, or you meet a different branch of the family. So there are situations where there are just, diametrically opposed values, and values are important to some people. And so if you don't want the same things, if you don't have the same value, if his race is that much of a problem for your family and that affects him, that's going to be a thing, certainly. But it's just, he's been with you for 4 years and your parents never accepted him according to you the whole 4 years, but he stayed. So, like I said, a lot of times it's not really what they're telling you, right? Just do no contact and so on, and see what happens, see if he starts communicating or starts chasing. But there are situations, like I said, where you cannot You cannot change the perspective when there's such a huge values difference. Those are the situations where no contact cannot change values. You know, unless someone's going to be completely fake and phony and they end up being unhappy, right? So, but thanks for the question. Arnab says, my girlfriend broke up our 7-year relationship and has monkey branch to another guy. I'm in no contact. And initially she contacted me, but now she just doesn't contact me. Is she over me? So again, these are the examples I say. Okay. And I understand I always try to communicate with as much love and affection as I can. I know that you're going through a lot. But when I read these comments, I can tell you're not even doing no contact. A lot of the questions I get at times are from people who didn't even do no contact. And just like, okay, can I get them back now? Right. And so when you say she monkey branched to another guy, right? She chose another guy and she initially contacted me. That tells me probably when she contacted you, you're going back and forth. You're having conversations. She still has access to you whenever she wants. Whenever she wants, she can access you. She can just, use you for that emotional attention. And when you do that, sooner or later they get bored and tired of you. They detach from you emotionally and they move on. That's the problem. They move on if you continue doing things like that. And that's the issue. So actually do no contact. She's with someone else. Do not call or text her ever. And if she reaches out to you, actually, when she's in a relationship, you say, hey, I understand you're in a relationship, so I'm gonna respect that. If things change, you can reach out to me. And if I'm single, we can talk then. But talking to her when she's in a relationship, 9 times out of 10, she's just using you for emotional support. And you're wasting your time. You're getting your hopes up and you're wasting your time. Okay. All right. Oh, I just crossed so as I'm going back to the other comments and the regular question, I caught a glance of someone talking about writing a letter. I don't know where, I know there's people out there on the internet that tell you to write a letter. It doesn't work. Okay. 9 times out of 10, it's not going to work. There has to be a mutual desire. And desire is created in space. What's happening is like you're just too fearful. And a lot of times that need to write the letter is what caused you to do all the other things that got you blocked, that got them to tell you, hey, it's over, I'm done for good, that got them to tell you, stop contacting me. And that fear, so you go on the internet looking for confirmation to do something else to chase them. They tell you, oh, write a letter. It's not going to work. All right. And in fact, the more you do in most cases, especially if you write a letter after you've been blocked and all these things, you're just making it worse. Okay. Uh let's see. So the questions have gotten all jumbled up now. But let's try to find, we'll just pick the next question if I can find one. Uh, okay, Matthew Ork says, I've been in no contact for 5 months. My ex has restricted or hidden her stories on Instagram from me, but she still watches mine. That's fine. That's okay. The fact that she's trying to hide it from you technically is a good sign because she just doesn't want you to know what she's doing. Now, she might be partying and hanging out with other people, but the fact that she feels the need to hide it from you means she still cares about what you think, which is a good thing ultimately. And the fact she's watching your stories is still a good thing. Joaquin, I had a 2.5 month relationship, went to Greece, had a fight, and she left. Despite our bond, she ghosted. Posts related on social media, won't admit fault. No contact for 20 days. Will she come back? Well, I don't have a crystal ball, just so you know. All right. So I can't predict the future, but I'll tell you, your chances will only be, you'll have the best chance by doing no contact. The other thing you said, she won't admit fault. So are you trying to make her admit fault? You know, you give your ex power, the more you try to make them confess to anything. The more you're saying, like, why don't you just see what you did? Why can't you admit wrongdoing? That gives them more power because you're still seeking their approval. You want them to admit to something that they don't want to in hopes of fixing the relationship. Let me also tell you this, especially for the guys. You're not going to get your ex back by using logic. Not, of course, let me be clear. Obviously, women have logical minds, okay? But you're not going to win her back by using logic. You're going to win her back by using emotion. So anytime you find yourself explaining and trying to, figure out and dissect and break down everything that went wrong, and oh, I didn't used to call every day, and so now I'm going to call. It's not going to work. All right. It's more important to understand how she feels. All right. It's more important to appeal to her emotional side. All right. And sometimes distance, or a lot of times distance does that because it triggers her. Now there's space for her to wonder about you. Now, and let me tell you this, there's nothing that you can post, there's nothing that you can say that is as powerful as her own mind and the things that she's worrying about with you. Is he seeing someone else? Is that why I haven't heard from him? Maybe he's on a date right now. And so she texts you at like, 8 or 9 p.m. and you don't respond. You don't get back to her to the next day. And she's like, he was obviously with another girl. Now she really gets fearful because this is different. I might actually lose him. There was a client I was talking to the other day, and he did all the begging, chasing, and all that. And eventually, he had the conversation with his ex when she finally picked up his phone call, and he basically was like, are you gonna come back or not? Something like that. Basically trying to make her give him a yes or no. And she said, I don't know. We'll see what the future holds. He's like, no, I need to know right now so I can move on. And she says, okay, move on. But you don't realize, and I know this from coaching, both sides, the dumpers and the dumpees. A lot of times when they say move on, it's because they know that you won't. They know that because you're still putting the decision in their arms. If you really were done emotionally, if you really had the power, you wouldn't have to get permission to move on from them. So a lot of times they will tell you, yes, move on, it's over, because they know you won't. You're still going to be here. And that makes them feel comfortable. And if you doubt it, the same guy, I think, I won't go into too much detail here, but let me use a similar example. Let's say he posted something, he was out with his friends, let's just say, and they were playing basketball together, him and a group of his friends. And, let's say some girls are watching. They're just having a good time. They're at the gym. And he posts a story. She texted him that day. She watched the story. She texted him some crap about something she was dealing with. Remember, this is someone that dumped him, didn't have time of day for him, had no interest in a relationship. But she texted him, let's give another example. Oh, my faucet broke. I need help with my faucet. And he left his friends and showed up at her house. All right. So even though she didn't directly say anything about the relationship, and even if he didn't directly say, oh, I want to get back together, the mere fact that you drop everything that you're doing just to help them out tells them all the answers that they need. Okay. Anyway, there you go. So stop asking, stop begging, stop trying to figure out. Um, so I'm trying to figure out if they'll take accountability. They won't. Give them space, and they'll start to pursue you a lot of times. Okay. Arnab with another super chat says, "My girlfriend still has our pictures on social media. Her Facebook cover pic is still a picture of us. Don't understand what she wants anymore. I heard you replied to my last super chat, so what do I need to do?" That's the other issue. And again, maybe you haven't watched a lot of videos, and I understand this. And let me be clear. I understand this is an emotional time. I understand you just lost this person that you really care about. I get that. Most of the reason we're here, the reason why you watch the videos is in a lot of cases, you want to fix things with them. I get it. Okay. Um, but the mere fact that you still your mind is still, what do I need to do? Right? Especially when they're not showing interest. Now, in my videos, we talk about, how to react, how to respond, what to do if they do this, how to counter what they're doing. But the mere fact that your mindset is still, what can I do? That's what's called the illusion of action. Because most times you really don't have to do anything except stay away. All right. And then you will start to get tested. I mean, it's not easy to get your ex back because a lot of times, yes, their attraction will increase, but they still doubt you. They still feel like, no, you're still that same needy, insecure guy, or you're still the guy who's not a leader, who doesn't have his life together. And so they test you. Or you're still the guy who I have control over and I can get my way with. And so I can just put you on the back burner and go date other people. So they test you. So yes, how you respond to the tests is important. What you do in response to tests is important. But if you've been chasing and your ex is silent, there's nothing to do except continue working on yourself and stay in no contact. I guarantee you. I wish I could put the level of certainty that I have, not only from my experience, but from coaching other people. Most of the people who did no contact well, most of them, even if they didn't fix the relationship on the back end, they got something. They got some text messages, they got interactions, they went on dates, they dated for several months after, and maybe they got back together or they didn't. But it's the people who feel this need to keep chasing. I'm telling you, you're going to fail the tests when they come. All right, because you still have a mindset of scarcity. So it's a little bit of both. Okay, I'm not saying there are tactical things to do, but there's also a mindset piece. But really, it's one and the same thing because a lot of the tactics come from having an abundance mindset. So a lot of times, channels just give you the tactics without understanding where they come from and why they work. I try to make it to my videos both. So sometimes you watch a video from me and it's more motivational and philosophical as opposed to tactics because they're both important. Because I'm not going to be there when your ex sends that text. I'm not going to be there when you go on that first date. You want to be able to respond naturally, right? You don't want to be sitting, oh, what did coach say? Oh, she said this. Oh, what should I say? You want to be able to be natural with it. And a lot of this has to do with self-esteem. A lot of this has to do with your belief and knowing that no, I deserve to be here. You're lucky to have me. You're not mean, you're not disrespectful, but you know your worth. So important, all right? But yeah, last piece of your question, if she hasn't taken down pictures or, cover pictures, that's fine, but it doesn't necessarily matter. Sometimes they slowly take it off because they don't want all the questions from friends and family, and they feel silly because they've posted you at some time in the past. So sometimes it's just about protecting their own image. All right. But it's okay. It is all right. Okay, let's see here. What other questions we got? But thank you all for being here. All right. We're gonna answer some more questions. Um, I've run out of my Coke, and so I'm a little parched. But if you're just joining, be sure to hit the like button. Okay, really appreciate it. Means a lot. Uh, If you want to skip the line, send a super chat. All right. I'll answer super chat questions first, but let me do some more of the comment or the other questions here. Let's see. Lamb. And I'm just doing them randomly now. Something has happened where they're kind of shuffled, I believe. So just drop your questions and I'm going to answer them as they come up on my screen here. But if you want to skip the line, the super chats pop up and I answer all the super chat questions. Okay. And just another note, so you know, if you just want to donate and support the channel, awesome. I appreciate it. But if you're sending a super chat so that I can answer your question, make sure it is more than $5. The reason I say this is YouTube does not um, publish or does not push to the top the super chats under that threshold. So a lot of times, basically, I won't see it. Okay. So if you sent something that's like 199, the reason I don't read it is because I didn't see it. Okay. It just goes into the comments, but it doesn't pop up on my screen. All right. So let's see. Let's answer this next question from Lamb. She blocked me on Instagram even though we weren't following each other. She did do this last time we broke up before. Well, that's a good thing. If she's blocking you or you're not following each other, it's for a reason. She's trying to get your attention. She's trying to force you into a reaction. She's trying to manipulate you, which is okay. That's fine. That's a good sign. It means her interest is creeping up and she's trying to get a reaction. So stay no contact, all right? Ike, okay. I know you sent a couple of questions, but now I don't think I remember the backstory, but let's see. Went no contact the minute she broke it off 7 days ago. She moved to the Vegas guy. Okay. She moved to Vegas 3 days ago. It was a whack reason. Okay. We are very close, best friends, 7 years, music homies. Um, Girlfriend, 5 months, I think you're saying. Stay no contact, give up. I would stay no contact. Okay. At some point, if you're ever ready to be friends with her, it's something you can consider because you guys were friends for a very long time. But that's up to you. All right. But if you still have romantic feelings for her and you're not yet ready to just be friends, your best bet is no contact. Either she comes back or at some point you're emotionally able to just be friends with her um without having any emotional attachment. Okay, but I would say no contact. Yes. Mm-mm-mm. MB with the super chat says no, not super chat. Regular question says I started no contact since a month. I got a call from them after 15 days. Cool. See what I say? A lot of people, you will get that call, but that first reach out a lot of times is just a test. Says couldn't receive the call due to some work, but I didn't get a reply when I asked. What can be the reason? What can be the reason I'm continuing no contact? I got a call from them after 15 days. Couldn't receive the call due to some work, but I didn't get a reply. So I'm guessing you say you called back and they didn't respond. Like I said, a lot of times it's just a test to get on your radar, to just see how you react, and calling them back once is fine. If they call you and you're busy, let's say they call you at 7 p.m., you reach out to them the next day and they don't answer, that's it. The ball is back in their court. You stay no contact. Like I said, I'm telling you, you don't ever underestimate your ex will test you. So if you overreact, they call you once. Let's say you miss it, you call them back, no answer. You leave a voicemail, they don't get back to you. You call them again. Then you send a couple of text messages. Hey, you called me. It just gives them all the answers. Oh, yeah, she's still obsessed. He's still obsessed. It sounds like you handled it well. So just stay no contact. Wait for the next reach out. Uh, huh. Dexter, are you going to hit my question or skip me? Let me tell you, Dexter, I don't see your question. So if you sent, let's see, I don't think you sent the super chat, so you probably didn't, which is okay. So if you had a regular question, something's happened, and I'm kind of just so you know, I'm toggling between all the different categories of questions. It's hard to explain, but this is all the back end stuff. But anyway, the questions have shuffled or something. So the questions that started out at the top when we first started, I don't see them anymore. So if you came in early, just drop your question again because I can't see your question. So now I'm having to just go at random. All right. So I'm not skipping you if you drop the question, just so you know. It's kind of shuffled on the back end, which is very weird, but there you go. Let's see here. But just drop your question again if I don't get to it. Don't spam, don't send your question 50 times, but just drop it again and I'll do my best. Okay, awesome. Ayush, he's definitely spamming. So let's answer his question. Awesome Ayush says, "Hi coach, broke no contact after 21 days. She's talked nicely initially. After 4 to 5 days, she's like, stay away from me. What can I do next?" So this is a perfect example. Like I said, so many people, and this is not to put you down, my friend, you're not even doing no contact. Like you're not. Most of the people that reach out and say, "Oh, my ex is never coming back," you're not even sticking with it long enough. So you do it 21 days. As you can see, the first day she's responsive because it's been 21 days of silence. But after 4 to 5 days of probably begging and forcing and double texting and all these things, she's like, stay away from me. So I'm not surprised when I read that. And now you're still asking, what can I do next? Okay. Remember, I'm not trying, I really want you to know I'm saying this from love. Okay. It's not going to help you to continue chasing her. I guarantee it. You need to back up. You need to wait for her to reach out to you from now on. Do not reach out to her for any reason. Any reason. That's why she's getting disrespectful. That's why she's pushing you away because you're chasing her. Um, Toy says, "Why did he have to text me? It's over. We're done." Or remind you, I haven't talked to him since April. We have a daughter together. Okay. Your question is not clear. Make sure when you're dropping your question, you just make sure everything's in there. That question kind of got mixed up there at the end. So I'm not clear exactly what you're asking. Marie says they reached out for a meetup one time and I thought it was a new beginning, but to him, it was for closure. I'm in no contact. What to do next? Well, it's still in his court, and I'm really curious how you handled that first meetup. If you're about to have a first meetup with your ex, definitely check the video out on my channel. It's called, first meeting with my ex, something like that. First date with my ex, something like that. Be very careful about the things you're saying. A lot of times you're just over pursuing because just because your ex is asking to see you, remember those initial stages, they're still very unsure about you. They're unsure about their own feelings, but they are starting to miss you. That's why they're reaching out, especially if you've been in no contact. But they're still very unsure about things. And so a lot of people go into these meetings and you just give them the relationship back. You just say, hey, here you go. Here you go. Can we work on this? You ask those types of questions and your ex is going to retreat. Your ex a lot of times doesn't want any responsibility for your feelings. They don't want to feel like one conversation means we're back in the relationship. They don't want to feel like one intimate moment, one text message means that all of a sudden now you have expectations. When are you going to come back? Okay, so you have to be very careful about your language, and in a lot of ways, you have to almost act like you don't want the relationship. All right, and it's a very careful thing to do. I'm not saying be mean to them or to show no interest, but definitely don't force things. Don't try to move too fast. That's what kills a lot of people. Okay, super chat from it's Lexi Laura says, went no contact for 6 months and he wrote 3 messages on a post. I didn't respond. I miss him, but I think any man who value would not let that much time go by. Well, he's clearly unsure about things and he's still trying to get you to chase him. So if what you're saying, what I understand is he wrote questions on like underneath your post on Instagram or something like that. That's kind of how I understand it. If he messaged you directly to your phone, like a text message, you definitely shouldn't be ignoring him. But if he's commenting under your pictures and things like that, you can just like to acknowledge them. But yeah, that's not good enough. WF with the super chat says after 22 years and 3 kids, she packed up and left. I got the I love you, but not in love with you speech. Okay. I begged and pleaded initially. I do no contact. After 3 to 4 days, she pops up at the house. Yeah. Good. Now, I don't know what has happened since, but I'm telling you, just being in a place of abundance and showing some strength and restraint is so powerful. I'm going to make a video about this next week. But essentially, I had a client where, um, the same thing happened. In their case, they randomly bumped into each other. And after they saw each other, she's like, hey, I knew I was going to run into you at some point, something like that. But, I want the best for you. We're just not the best together, something like that. And he's like, yeah, I understand. And, right now I agree. We just don't see eye to eye on certain things. And, I wish you well. I hope you find what you're looking for. That night, she was at his house. Seriously. Seriously. That night, just showing a little bit of indifference, showing a little bit of, if you're going to push me away, you don't want the relationship. Hey, I agree. I understand. Or I respect your decision and, I'm going to keep moving forward. I wish you the best. Always depends on what they're saying, but especially when you're getting things like have a nice life, we'll never be together, you should be accepting and escalating and exaggerating. We'll never be together. Yeah, I agree. I think we just don't see eye to eye on certain things. Now, I want us to work on things. I want us to work on things, but you know, I understand your decision, and I wish you well. Seriously, just that little bit of lack of interest, you'd be surprised what happens after that. But let me just say this: some people will hear that. All right. Your ex, you're in no contact. You haven't heard from your ex. They haven't called you. They haven't texted you. Matter of fact, they've been ignoring you. And then you'll send them a text. Just so you know, I hope you're happy. I hope you find someone else. That's needy behavior. That's desperate. Okay. If they're not the ones reaching out to you first, you send these as responses to them. If they're not reaching out to you first, and you're just forcing. All right. Glizzy. 3-year relationship ended 6 weeks ago. Amicable, mutual. Okay, let's hear this. But she, 23-year-old female, initiated it with me, 23-year-old male. Text weekly. We'll see each other in 2 weeks at Friendsgiving. Then I don't know. No contact or keep text light. You see how, again, pay attention with me here because I want not only you, my friend, to learn, but the other people. It's very difficult because when you care about someone, you know, our mind, like you have a way of almost lying to yourself or misrepresenting things to yourself. Like you say, based on what you're saying here, you said it was a mutual breakup. 9 times out of 10, breakups are not mutual. Someone wants it more. Someone wanted it first, or someone wants it more. Because it's very unlikely for you to instantly lose feelings at the same time. One person's going to lose it first. Maybe they stop showing up, and this other person gets more anxious. They start chasing. Or even if you lose feelings as well, it's not going to be at the same rate. It's very, very rare to instantly lose feelings at the same time. And two, the very fact that you're taking the time out to send a super chat, to type a question, to ask, what if this, what if that, you wanted to be with her. So the first thing, you have to see things as they were. She left you. That's the bottom line. She dumped you. And so it wasn't mutual. And you still want more because you care enough. Like I said, you're taking the time to invest $10. You're sitting here. I'm not sure what time it is in your side of the world or state, but you're invested. And you're saying, okay, so and after Friendsgiving, what do I do next? So do not misrepresent things to yourself. She dumped you and you still want to be with her, which means you should stop talking to her. You should stop being her friend. All you're doing, I promise you, you're helping her move on. You're helping her move on. You're still hanging around. We text each other weekly. So she gets the emotional support of a relationship without the risk. And she's going to go find someone else. And then you're going to be at Friendsgiving thinking that you can friendship your way back. It does not work. Okay. And this is coming from a place of love. This is coming from experience. I've made some of these mistakes myself. I've seen clients make this mistake. It does not work. You have to see things as they are, no better than they are, and no worse than they are. Okay. In a lot of cases, things aren't as bad as you think, but in some cases, you are seeing things way more rosy than they are. Okay, stop talking to her and go into no contact. Um, let's see here. WF says she sends me pics of herself. It's been 3 months. I'm so lost. Is she breadcrumbing me? If she's not seeing you and she's just sending you pictures, yes, she's breadcrumbing you. Is she waiting for me to ask her to come back? Hmm, could be. She slept in my bed. Well, what happened when she slept in your bed? Were you, you know, sleeping together in the bed as friends? Or were you actually having romance? If there's no romance, if you're not spending quality time together, doesn't matter where it's at, but it looks like a date. Because, depending on the type of relationship you have, sleeping in the same bed, if you're on opposite sides, doesn't really mean anything. It's more tangible that, you're doing things together, you're laughing, you're having real quality time. All right. You're flirting and all that. But if she just slept in the bed and nothing happened romantically, you know, that's still a waste of your time. I don't know if you guys have children. I missed that. Maybe you mentioned that before. Let's see. So if that's the reason why she's in your bed, you need to cut it out, man. Let's see. I can't find WF. Um. Okay. Oh wait, there it is. Okay, 3 to 4 days. She pops up in my house. Or you have 3 kids together. Okay. Right. So be very careful in that case, her trying to sleep in your bed. A lot of times these are just tactics for control, and you're so confused. I don't know how much you're participating in these breadcrumbs she's giving you. Are you liking the pictures? Are you saying, oh, you look so pretty? You shouldn't be doing those things. She should be getting no effort and attention from you. All right. If she's totally refusing to, spend time with you romantically, you don't have to rush back to a relationship together. But if she's putting you at arm's length, but she just wants to send you pictures and, you're complimenting her and all these things, it doesn't really, all you're doing is boosting her ego. Okay. Anyway. All right. We're going to do a couple more questions. Says ignoring all pigs. Okay. Got it. Right. There's nothing to say to the pig. No, I'm not home when she comes over. Okay, good. Okay, good. Sounds like you're doing it Well, then just wait for her to she's basically if she gets fearful enough, she's gonna do more for sure. So you just kind of have to keep hanging back. Doesn't sound like I'm looking at your other comments here. Doesn't sound like you're making many mistakes, which is difficult because you have kids together. But let her escalate further. She will if she wants it. Let's see here. Jewel V ignored him for a year. He reached out to me, text for the first 6 months, didn't see him for 8 months. He was a, hmm we were together for 8 years. Should I answer his rare texts and what? I'm lost because you said you were ignoring him for a year. I don't know if you mean you were in no contact for a year. It's a little confusing, but basically, you shouldn't be ignoring him. But if someone's just texting you with no intentions to see you ever, right? The way you know you're being breadcrumb is if they've been texting you for weeks and they've never made any plans, then that's a breadcrumb. And at that point, you can set a boundary like, hey, like I have no interest in being your friend, and so I'd appreciate it if you stop texting me. That's if they keep right. A breadcrumb is not just one text that doesn't say what you want to hear. If you're consistently getting reached out to them for weeks and they never make any plans, then they're breadcrumbing you. Okay. Super chat from Oscar. 1 month no contact. She wanted me to chase initially by posting on Facebook. Recently, she hasn't posted in 2 weeks now. Is she moving on or realize I wouldn't react? Well, it's just been 2 weeks. Well, you've been no contact for 1 month and she's only stopped posting for 2 weeks. You're fine. Keep doing what you're doing. Okay. But it's good that you didn't react. Okay. Don't get fearful. I promise you, when she misses you enough, even if she doesn't rush back to you, what I see is you will get tested. And women have a lot of ways. It's, oh, I left my sweater at your house, right? So she can come and see how you react to being around her. She'll find a way. I promise you that. So never worry if she stops posting or she blocks you, or these are ultimately good signs because they're trying to get a reaction. And if you do nothing, they'll find another, a lot of times indirect way. Oh, I just wanted to pick up my stuff. Or oh, you know, I had XYZ thing that I wanted to ask you about, but it's just for work. Charles, I was a dumpy, and after running into each other and spending a few weeks, I ended it due to the unhealthy leverage. Can't find info on this dynamic. Unhealthy leverage. I ended it due to the unhealthy leverage. Yeah, I was dumpy, and after running to each other, okay. Who had the leverage, just to be clear? If you were the dumpy, sounds to me like what you're saying is after seeing each other, spending time together, you still felt like she had the leverage. Is that what you're saying? And then you ended up leaving. Ultimately, standing up for yourself is a good thing. It's attractive, but I'm just a little confused about how you articulated that due to the unhealthy leverage. Who had the leverage? Anyway, if you want to talk to me about your situation, we're going to call it a night. I appreciate y'all for being here. If you want to talk to me one on one about your situation, you can. Uh, you can. You can book a call. All right, it's the link in my on my profile. So if you go to my YouTube page and you go on my homepage on YouTube, you'll see a link there. And if you want to talk in details about your situation, click that link and we can talk. All right. I appreciate you, and we'll talk soon. All right. JP. Okay. Jared. I see your super chat, but I don't see your question. Right? You needed to attach your question with the super chat. So it probably got lost in the sauce. But what I would say is, you mentioned BPD, bipolar disorder. Ultimately, you can't fix anyone. I gotta stress that. And so sometimes, no contact gets your foot in the door as far as raising attraction. But when there's like mental health issues, psychological issues, they need to be seeking help as well. All right. You can help point them in the right direction and things, but you cannot fix people. I didn't see your explicit question, but it's very important. I get people that, different mental illnesses that you say your ex has. And again, I'm not a doctor, you're not a doctor. But even if that's the case, no contact is not going to fix that. Just so you know. It can raise attraction though, but it's not going to fix the chemistry inside someone's brain. They need to be seeking help for those things. Glizzy, super chat. This is the last one I'm going to do. I know the reasons: lost masculine frame, complacency, self improvement, giving them the breakup is the recipe. Physical attraction there should have hooked up, even if I took her for granted. No, like you're deluding yourself. I got to be honest, bro. Right? You say you lost masculine frame according to you, and your solution is to be her friend. That's not masculine. There's nothing masculine frame about that. There's nothing confident or competent. And again, understand, all right, I'm not trying to beat you down, beat you while you're down. I want to challenge you here. Because if she's talking to you, there's likely a chance you can fix this. But you got to pull back and stop making excuses that allow you to continue to chase her. All right? You need to, especially if you lost masculine frame, part of being masculine is moving forward, being strong, all right? Being able to suffer through challenging times. And so, as much as the breakup hurts you and breaks your heart, you're showing a propensity to continue to step forward. And she sees that, and it's going to raise her attraction. So you're just saying all the buzzwords, self improvement, da da da, but you're not behaving like someone who's internalizing that. You're not. Because if you're sitting there talking to her weekly, going to Friendsgiving and doing all these things, you're still chasing and you're convincing yourself that you're not. But you are. That's the thing. You're still convincing yourself that you're not chasing, but you are. Anyway, there you go. But thanks again, all right? Let's do this last question. This person's been spamming the comments. See, but let me say this, all right? I'll answer the question. This is from some random chick, okay? I'm going to answer your question. But let me say this. If you're communicating with your ex, definitely don't send 10 messages. Don't spam them. Okay? You need to find another outlet for this energy. Everything is energy. Okay? So you taking the time to continue to drop the same question. I think you can just copy paste. I'm not sure, but I'm sure you're just pasting it over and over. I get it. But if you are this anxious with your ex and you do things like this, let's say they don't text you back immediately and you see they posted a story and then these are the things that make you lose. Ultimately, you need to stop caring so much. This sounds tough to say, but I'm telling you, you need to stop caring. When you stop caring, you will get results. And you can care, but at least don't overly communicate through your actions that you care. Seriously. Until they start to change how they're treating you or until they start to pursue you. But let's answer your question. What should I do if we are in the same friend group? Nothing. He doesn't seem to still like me. So that tells me that when you're hanging out in the friend group, you're probably looking at him with googly eyes. You're talking to all the other people about him and how you're heartbroken. And these things don't help, and you're making the friend group uncomfortable for him. We are still in school, but in and after the relationship, his parents talked bad about me. What should I do? Stop chasing him. Never talk to any of the friends about him, because believe me, sometimes your friends think that they're helping you, but their constant attempts to fix the relationship and win him back over, to get him back for you, that's what actually pushes him away permanently. So stop doing that. Um, what else? And it doesn't matter what the parent says, okay? Just leave him alone. Minimize your interactions as much as you can, and try to make some other friends as well. I'm not saying you should cut off your friends, okay? If you guys are really close, it is what it is, but try to minimize your interactions, minimize the hangouts as much as possible, certainly the group hangouts, and stay no contact, okay? Anyway, thanks for being here again. If you want to book a call, click the link on my page, or in the bio of any of my videos, and we'll go from there, and we'll talk about your situation. All right. I appreciate you all. Peace.